Hi guys, we have a lot of new people and so I just wanted to pop on. I'm gonna do my makeup. I'm gonna do a full highlight and contour with Seint. Seint is cream makeup made for 30 plus. It was a game changer for me. I was alarmed how much my skin was changing with age, and I felt like the makeup I was using was enhancing texture, fine lines, wrinkles, and I gave up on it till I found Seint, and it really is made for mature, and it works with our skin, not against us. So, but I'm gonna start with my new favorite skin tint. I love this. This has 𝐿𝐼𝐻, which is a calming agent, so it's great if you have rosacea, any kind of skin irritant, acne, things like that. The 𝐿𝐼𝐻 in this calms those things and reduces inflammation. And then it also has hyaluronic acid. So it's all about giving that moisture. So it really is a skincare product, but gives you a little bit of coverage too. So I love wearing this under Seint. And I don't use a bunch, but it has like a dropper, which is strange, but it works really nice. And I put it on my hand, and then I grab like a beauty blender. And with these beauty blenders, you never want to use them dry. You want to get them very, very wet underneath the sink. And then they double in size. And then you want to wring them out with like a washcloth. And so they're just like barely damp. And then I pick up a little bit of my skin tint and I kind of dab it where I want it. It's going to give me some coverage, but it's also doing some great things for my skin, such as calming inflammation, and the hyaluronic acid locks in moisture and plumps. So I am currently a Olive Rose shade 6. I did list the link above if you'd like to take the Olive Rose Skin Tint quiz. It's usually spot on. If you have trouble knowing what your shade is, or if you're not sure, you can always reach out to me and I can help you figure this out too. But I feel like the quiz is a great place to start. And when you do take it, I get a notification that you took it. And I usually look at that as soon as I can. And if I think it's way off, I'll contact you. But if I think it's pretty much where you should be, I usually let it go. But you can also reach out if you have questions. But I love a good skin tint, and I have searched high and low. I kind of liked 𝐿𝐼𝐻, but I felt like it pilled with Seint. This particular product I feel like is more geared towards skincare, but it does give you a little bit of coverage and glow too. So it's like it's the best one I've found. And it's by Olive Rose. It's a company based out of Germany. And if you know anything about like makeup and quality standards in Germany, they're very high. So it's very natural, good for your skin, and just does amazing things. So that's my skin tint. Like I said, I'm an Olive Rose 6, and I like to apply it with just my beauty blender. Always use these damp. Now, see, I have a little bit of coverage, but I could use a little bit more. So I'm going to dip into my Seint palette. I'm working out of a Seint palette 18. I love this palette. I know a lot of people just got makeup from the Black Friday sale. And so I'm going to go over exactly where to place your makeup and how to blend it out. And you just have to remember less is more with Seint. You don't need much at all. A little goes an extremely long way. It's heavily pigmented cream, so it works in our favor. Less truly is more with Seint Beauty. So when I match you to a contour color that's it's gonna bring out the natural shadows of our face. It's kind of dark and scary, but it's super pretty on your skin. And then a brightening highlight. This is gonna give light and bright to your eyes. The dangerous thing with a brightening highlight is if it's too light, it's gonna emphasize texture and pores. So if you're seeing more texture and pores, it's a good cue to shade up, and I can help you with that as well. And then a main highlight, the one that looks most like your skin tone, is gonna go on the lower half of your face. I'm gonna use the buff brush, and I'm gonna dip into my contour color. The brushes that I like for placement are the smudge, the buff, or the detail. These brushes are super nice and they have dense edges, so they place the product exactly where it should be. So I like to go up and under my cheek, or you can go top of ear to outer corner of eye. Does not have to be perfect, doesn't have to be symmetrical, just in that general place. And we always want to err on being higher than lower because we want to lift our face, not drag it down. So I'm going to go over here, put a little up here. If you want to learn more about Seint Beauty, I have a little link and it just kind of gives an overall synopsis of what it offers for us. And that's in the title section. And then if you'd like a color match, there's a link for that too. But we went up and under both cheekbones, and then we just go temple to temple right along the hairline. My daughter says I have a forehead, and she's right. So this kind of helps make our forehead appear a little bit shorter, just emphasizing the roundness of our head. So I like to go temple to temple right along my hairline, and then I get the edge of this buff brush with my contour, and I kind of follow my eyebrow line down my nose to narrow my nose. I hope you guys had a great Christmas. It was wonderful. I loved how all the trees were iced over. Even though it wasn't snowing, it still gave like that white Christmas feel. It's crazy that it's over. My boys, we collaborated with Santa this year because we did one large gift, and the boys got electric scooter things, and so they've been begging me to go outside, and it's finally warm enough where it's not slick out, so they've been riding those little scooters up and down the cul-de-sac, and I'm just watching out the front window. But it's always fun to see the kids open presents on Christmas. Is one of my favorite things. So what I did there is I used my contour and went down the edges of my nose on both sides. This narrows your nose. If you have a cute little nose, skip this part. You don't need it. But I feel like my nose is, I don't know, average. It keeps growing though, just like they say. They say that's a myth, that your nose and ears keep growing, but I think it's true. So this little tip really helps with that. So I go eyebrow line down, and then it looks a little long, so then I kind of cut it off right at the tip to almost give an illusion of a turned up button nose. It's crazy what a little contour can do. And I'm no makeup artist, I'm a nurse. So if I can do it, you can do it. So then we're going right along our jawline, just right this undercarriage of your jaw. You see this natural shadow, we're just gonna make it a little bit more bold to really emphasize our face, chisel out our jaw, and I brush this back right away. There's a few times I've forgotten, and then I notice it in my rear view mirror, or my kids tell me, and then I'm like, whoops, I forgot that. So I always like to brush that back right away, otherwise I'll forget about it. So now we're going into our brightening highlight, the lightest color of the 3D foundation. This is meant to be put in the triangle of light, which is, this is the top of your triangle, your eyebrows, and your chin is the bottom. We want to brighten that whole area and bring it forward. Brighten it to a point, because if you brighten too much, you're going to bring out texture, fine lines, and wrinkles. And I carry a lot of texture and fine line and wrinkles, and I just poke myself in the eye, under my eyes. So I went with Candlelit. If you don't have those issues, you can go super bright. But I just went one step lighter than my Athens main highlight because I have texture and I don't want to emphasize it. But one step lighter is enough. As you can see, it's still going to give me light and bright without emphasizing texture or fine lines or pores. So I like to put a little in between the brows, down the nose. I don't know if I did that. Tip of the nose, and then Cupid's bow. That's that little thing. And it's always red for me because I feel like I'm always blowing my nose. And then you hit your chin right here. So we're getting that triangle of light. And then I hit the inner corner of my eye and outer corner of my inner, outer. The mistake that I used to make is I used to go, you know, pretty much highlighter or concealer this whole area. We don't need to do that. And in fact, that isn't helping us at all. I put my main highlight here now, and it just kind of blends everything really nicely together. Sometimes if we make areas that we're not so favored too light, then we're emphasizing them. So I'm going to go in with my main highlight, my final step of my 3D foundation, because I'm done with my brightening highlight. And I'm going to put it where I don't have product. So just this lower half of the face, and you don't need much at all. If you use too much Seint, you're not going to like it because it is a heavily pigmented cream and you shouldn't have to use much. So I'm going to take a tiny bit of my main highlight and put it right here. This is going to camouflage any bag, fine line, wrinkle, but it's not going to emphasize it. So we kind of have all of our placement. We look like we're going to hunt a little bit, but now we're going to blend it out. And I like to blend light to dark because sometimes I get a little too happy and I blend out my contour lines, and they're so important to keep. So I like to say blend your contour last. So we're just going to stipple or press this into our skin. That's the nicest thing for your skin instead of swiping. But you'll see me kind of do a combo of both. I'm so excited. Tomorrow morning, it's going to be at 5 a.m. It's going to be 28 degrees with 2-mile-an-hour winds. I'm training for a half marathon in Vegas, and my sister and I are running on the weekends together. And it's so nice when it's not icy and that dang South Dakota wind isn't blowing. So I kind of blended, well, kind of, I was talking. But you kind of want to blend out all your light, and then we'll get the dark. But my sis is 7 years younger than me, and I feel like she's kind of like superhuman. I feel like she could go run a full tomorrow and be just fine. Whereas my 40, just about 3-year-old self needs the whole 12-week training period to be ready to go and run that half marathon. So it's at the end of February. And I guess we've only run marathons in the morning because that's pretty typical. And we've done a few rock and roll marathons. Those are so fun because they have bands pretty much every mile, like live bands. But this one starts at 4:30 and it's up and down the strip, so the lights are on. So it should be an interesting, fun, memorable experience. And my other sister, Brooke, is coming to cheer us on, along with my dad. So this is kind of the only rule with Seint. You want to lift up and back with this cheekbone contour because we want to lift our face, not lower it. So Brooke and Dad will be cheering us on. And hopefully Corey and I can finish in a pretty nice time. I know she'll be able to. Okay, so that's Seint 3D. Now we have coverage, glow, we have dimension. I don't know, it's just, this cream amazes me every single time I apply it. You're gonna love it, especially if you hate what you have. This made me believe in makeup again. So I'm actually gonna go with Dahlia because I feel like I need a little bright. I'm gonna make sure I'm telling you the right color. So this is Dahlia. I'm gonna use her on my lips and my cheeks. I always like to moisturize my lips before I use lipstick, especially if it's a satin or a matte. Being over 40, I feel like if I use a satin or a matte, it just kind of makes those lips look even, more lined and wrinkled. So this is our lip oil. I love it. It's not sticky at all. And I put that on first. And then I go into my Dahlia. And I'm going to apply this on my lips. It can make the color just a little more subtle too if you start with a lip oil. Even though I know this is pretty loud. But I started and I used that skin tint from Olive Rose. And that's so nice to have because it truly is a skincare, but it gives you a little bit of coverage too. So that's Dahlia, one of my favorite pinks. And I'll put a little here. I usually bronze first, but we went with the lip and cheek because I just saw her in my palette and she drew me in. So I'm liking to put my blush on with my ring finger, kind of where I want it, and then I kind of stipple it out. Remember, if you want to narrow, just stay on this back part of your eye with your blush. And if you want to have a more full-looking face, hit the apples of those cheeks. Kind of a nice, easy, simple rule that you can do with any makeup. But that is Dahlia. She's super fun. We have our first youth wrestling tourney. No, I don't know if it's a tourney. Yeah, it's a tournament. It's in Garretson, where my parents both grew up. So we're heading there tonight with the kids. I'm that crazy lady that tells myself the whole drive up there, Lex, you're going to be calm, controlled, you know, give them confidence, cheer a few times, and, you know, just keep it together. But every single match, I'm that crazy lady yelling the whole match, and coaching my kids, even though they have a coach and my husband there. So yeah, I need to work on that. I feel like I got it from my mom. I just remember my dad was a wrestling coach for 40 years. So he had all girls, even though my sisters wrestled nationally. But we're both very good. My mom, like, I think she felt like she was out there with every single wrestler. She would literally, like, grab onto the people's legs beside her during the match and be yelling moves, things like that. So I'm thinking that I didn't fall too far from her tree. So there's a little bronzer. I love Bella bronzer. She warms up any look, especially we're losing color this time of year. Maybe we've lost it all. Bella gives us a little bit of warmth and glow. Even if you're a cool toned girl like myself, Bella warms up your face and it just, I don't know, I love it. So I used Bella bronzer and I did Dahlia on my lips and my cheeks. And I worked out of a palette 18. I listed all my colors above. If you want an olive rose skin tint match, there's a quiz link above. If you want to learn more about Seint, there's a link for that. And if you want a color match to Seint, there's a link for that. And you can always reach out to me. It's the best makeup I've found, and it made me love makeup again at 42. So I hope you guys all have a great Friday and a great weekend and a happy new year. And I'm here if you need anything at all.